everyone. I want to begin by acknowledging that we are gathered on the traditional territories of Treaty 6 and 7, and we recognize the Métis people who share a deep connection with this land. My name is Jaelene Tweedle, and I am your Alberta NDP candidate for Red Deer North. Today I am joined by the Alberta NDP Deputy Leader and Education Critic, Sarah Hoffman. We're here to speak to you about our commitment to ensuring we can offer the best public education for children across the province. Unfortunately, as it stands, that is not the reality today. Immediately after being elected, the UCP made massive cuts, and then Minister of Education Adriana LaGrange supported a series of cruel decisions that have undermined the quality of education across the province. In the middle of the pandemic, the UCP laid off 20,000 support staff, including substitute teachers, school bus drivers, and educational assistants. Worst of all, these layoffs came just 2 weeks after the UCP promised not to do so, and that promise was broken with a single tweet. This meant that kids who were already struggling due to the pandemic were left without the support they needed. And they have continued to underfund public education throughout their time in government. I know many parents are devastated by these decisions and are frustrated by how harmful these cuts have been for their kids. It is clear that Danielle Smith and the UCP are more focused on their hidden agenda than on supporting Alberta children. They've been clear about their intentions to undermine public services like healthcare. We cannot trust them to prioritize public education. Not after 4 years of neglect. Earlier today, Rachel Notley outlined her legislative agenda and spoke about the immediate actions our government would take as soon as we form a government. You can rest assured that the Alberta NDP is committed to building better healthcare, better public education, and a better future for all children in Alberta. To speak more about how we plan to support Alberta's children, their parents, and families, I'll pass things over to Sarah.
Thank you, Jaelene. Residents in Red Deer are so grateful for your advocacy on behalf of their families, and we are excited to help you continue that work from the Alberta Legislature very soon. I want parents right here in Red Deer and across this province to know that we will work to support their kids immediately this summer. Jaelene's right. We cannot trust the UCP to prioritize public education, not after 4 years of neglect and cuts. We need a government that actually puts people first. We need a leader that we can trust. The UCP's decisions have left many children, those with complex needs especially, without the support that they need to thrive in their classroom. One of the first acts of the UCP was to cut program unit funding, or PUF. PUF is a lifeline that has helped prepare children with unique learning needs, such as those who are deaf or hard of hearing, or children who are neurodiverse, to be successful when they start grade 1. The UCP reduced supports for 3- and 4-year-olds and ended the crucial supports for kids once they entered kindergarten. This program used to provide vital supports including educational assistants, speech-language pathologists, and occupational therapists. But today, I'm very proud to announce that the Alberta NDP government is committed to not only restoring program unit funding, but we will also increase it. We are setting aside a dedicated fund envelope for PUF. This will increase PUF by $100 million immediately, and we will ensure that PUF will never be cut under an Alberta NDP government. This is the amount that parents and educators have told us is needed to provide the right support for kids to be able to learn effectively. As Rachel Notley said this morning, under the NDP, kids who need speech therapy will get speech therapy. It will level the playing field for them, ensuring that they have a fair chance at achieving their full potential. Our teachers, students, and parents deserve better than overcrowded and crumbling classrooms. As well, we will hire 4,000 teachers and 3,000 support staff. And we will fund the modernization or construction of 125 schools. This is not just about restoring a budget line item. This is about investing in Alberta's children and helping them thrive. We're going to make sure that parents can play an active role in their kids' learning through a broad consultation with Albertans about the K-12 curriculum. We will also consult with teachers, Indigenous partners, subject matter experts, and students themselves about the curriculum. Kids deserve the opportunity to enthusiastically participate in their learning and enjoy their time at school. They deserve to see themselves represented in the curriculum and to be well prepared for their future. We'll make sure this happens regardless of their unique learning needs. This is about doing what's right and doing what's fair. We believe that every child deserves the opportunity to succeed. Students, staff, and families deserve better from their government. It's time for better education, better leadership, and a better government that's focused on what matters most to you. An Alberta NDP government led by Rachel Notley is ready to put kids first as we build a better future for them all. Thank you, and we're happy to take your questions.
Great. And if you could please identify your outlet, and we'll take a question. Thank you.
Hi, Lana Michelin from the Red Deer Advocate. You mentioned that the UCP cut all of these classroom supports, but was that during a time when school learning wasn't happening in classrooms? Can you please elaborate a little bit about that?
Yeah, thanks for the question, Alana. So the 20,000 educational assistants across the province who were laid off was when students were told to learn remotely from home. But many of them weren't rehired. We know that, and their learning wasn't supposed to stop when they were sent home. They were still expected to learn and to get up and to participate in their classroom opportunities, even if that was through a remote learning classroom, through online learning. So kids were still expected to learn. Now, the piece around PUF specifically, PUF used to be about 120 million, and it's been cut under the UCP to approximately 60 million. They did that by completely eliminating funding for 5-year-olds and cutting the hourly amount for 3- and 4-year-olds. So we've seen a decimation to a program that was broadly credited with helping get kids who were behind in their learning back on track and catching them up to have an opportunity to learn alongside their peers. So that one was, the timing was similar to when COVID hit, but that was a completely different, incredibly cruel cut. And we've seen a result, far fewer early educational opportunities for these youngest Albertans who have learning disabilities and need some support and learning alongside their peers. And with that targeted investment, we can restore it and make sure that they have a great opportunity to learn in grade 1.
Thanks. My other question is, could you please delineate sort of what kind of supports are available in schools now and what is not available for disabled children and therefore what you would like to restore?
Yeah, thanks. So in terms of the PUF envelope specifically, and that's the bulk of what we're here to commit to today, it used to be that all Alberta children who were identified as having behavioral needs, learning needs, that additional investment in the early years, it's technically 2 years, 8 months, 3 years, 8 months, 4 years, 8 months, but basically 3, 4, and 5-year-olds, if we do a little bit of rounding, used to be able to have really targeted, focused investment in helping their learning. And some people said, we wish that would continue beyond kindergarten. We wish that there was more focused investment in grade 1 and so forth. But instead of doing that, the UCP decided to cut it completely for those kids who were in kindergarten. So only kids who happen to be coded really early when they're 2.5 or 3.5 and getting ready for that next school year are the ones who are eligible for any PUF funding right now. And the amount that they are eligible for, there's all of these loopholes around hours of instruction and other pieces, whereas before they just get the additional funding, they'd enroll in an early ed classroom, and they'd have an opportunity to get a speech language pathologist, get an educational assistant, get an occupational therapist, work with an audiologist if it was a hearing problem, and be able to develop a number of strategies and be successful and ready for full integration in grade 1. But clearly under the UCP that hasn't been a priority. Not only are we going to restore PUF, we're actually going to expand on it to make sure that we have more educational assistants and more allied health professionals, wraparound health services, to ensure that those youngest children are ready to learn in grade 1.
Thank you, Lana. We're now going to go to questions from journalists that are joining us virtually. And I see first we have a question from Alessia. And if you could please identify your media outlet as well, Alessia. Thank you. Please go ahead with your question. We're having difficulties hearing you, but if you could put your question into the chat.
Or can we turn up the Is it possible to turn up the audio on that? No. Okay.
That would be helpful. Hi, Alessia. We'll come back to you in just a moment. We're just going to resolve our technical issues here. Thank you. Okay, next we're going to go to an individual on the phone. If you could please give us your name and your outlet, that would be fantastic. Thank you. Alicia, and I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. We're going to go back to you. And if you could please give us your question, that would be great.
Hear me now?
Now I
Yes.
can. Hooray.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, hallelujah. Okay, I'm just going to try to hold this microphone to my mouth here.
Thank you.
He claimed last week they were referencing something that Ms. Tweedle said in 2021, where she said that funds should be invested into quote unquote one system rather than like multiple education systems. And they were making the claim that Ms. Tweedle was implying the eradication of several educational choices, such as the Catholic school system, for example. I just wanted to offer the opportunity for Ms. Tweedle to maybe clarify that statement or to make any comment on that claim. Thank you.
So both the NDP and myself are strong supporters, always have been, always will be, of our public education system, which does include public, Catholic, and Francophone. We're fully committed to funding every student in those systems. And the only choice that I've been seen lacking for a lot of parents is the choice to have their children attend a school that's well funded, sufficiently staffed, supported, and with a really good curriculum that prepares our children for the future. So I would say I thank you for the opportunity to provide clarification. But yes, myself and the NDP are committed to funding the students in our schools and to make sure that they thrive.
Thank you. And do I have the opportunity for a follow-up?
Yes, please give us a follow-up question. Thank you.
Perfect. This question is just a follow-up for the party in general. I just wanted to know what was their stance on the current public education funding system. Thank you.
Are you okay with me? Yeah. Thanks so much. Sarah Hoffman is the deputy leader and our education critic. Under the UCP, we have seen gross underfunding over the last 4 years. School divisions that have seen growth, like the public and Catholic school divisions right here in Red Deer, have been underfunded. They haven't kept up with the number of new students. When their families are choosing public, Catholic, and Francophone schools, we've seen that under the UCP, you can't trust them to fund and honor that choice. We are thousands of teachers short of where we should be if we just kept up with the ratio of teacher to students that we had under the former government. That's why we're committing to hiring 4,000 additional teachers for public, Catholic, and Francophone schools over the next 4 years, as well as 3,000 educational assistants. We know that every child deserves to have an excellent opportunity to learn in a well-supported classroom. That means reasonable class sizes, a quality curriculum, as Jaelene said, that parents, students, staff, Indigenous, and other cultural leaders in our communities deserve to be at the table with curriculum experts in developing that, and that has absolutely been a shortcoming of the UCP. And in fact, it's downright embarrassing. The fact that none of it in the Northwest Territories, after 40 years of partnership with Alberta, have decided that their curriculum isn't good enough for their kids is testament that it isn't good enough for our kids. What has been forced on Alberta classrooms by Adriana LaGrange, Danielle Smith, and the UCP is just not fair. So we deserve adequate curriculum that we can all be proud of, every kid can see themselves reflected in. 4,000 more teachers, 3,000 more educational assistants in public, Catholic, and Francophone schools. And we're also going to build or modernize 125 schools across this province. So we absolutely are going to side with parents and make sure that we support them and the choices they make around their child's education.
Excellent. Thank you, Alessia, for the questions. Seeing no further questions on the virtual opportunity and locally, that's it for today. Thank you.